Welcome to Mana's Potion. My name is Mitchell, but you may call me Mana as well. And thank you for your incredible patience with me streaming and going on and off again with that and video production. Trust me, much as this is a hobby for me, motivation and willpower will forever remain my mortal enemies, and that's why I'm not a writer. Probably. Yet. Speaking of writing, hey, do you want to listen to me rant about the wrongdoings of the slave-owning fantasy that is Rising of the Shield Hero? You don't? That's fair. The last video kind of beat Naofumi into the dirt anyway. But that was something of an easy challenge. I crave more. A greater demonstration that I would be a better shield hero than him. Let me at him. Put a shield on my wrist and watch me dominate the enemy. Maybe. Probably. Well, not in real life. Video games is the best thing I got. And so begs the question. Can you beat Dark Souls with shields only? For Pete's sake, I know I'm not the first to do this challenge. First, let's go over the rules. First and foremost, I'm only allowed to equip and use shields as my main and preferably only source of damage. There's also a secondary aspect of this rule that is important for Dark Souls. I'm only going to have one shield at a time. While the comparisons are obvious, I can hardly call myself better than a fictional character if I get an advantage of some sort. And per the inspiration of this challenge, Naofumi only has one shield out at a time, at least to what I've read up to. Second, long as it's not a weapon proper, everything else is fair game. Yeah, sure, I could run around doing this naked, but I respect my time and sanity too much for that. Third, and finally, no cheating or exploits. I mean, per the norm, it's not really a challenge if I can just cheat my way through it somehow. Get it? Got it? Good. So, strategy. Something that crosses my mind for this build is the ridiculous stability of a great shield. And while that would absolutely be something legal and usable, per my own pride and attention to details in the matter, I'd rather not use them. Why? Well, okay, bear with me for a bit. As far as I know, Naofumi in Shield Hero never gets a shield that isn't just a buckler or no bigger than a kite shield. And while kite shields are pretty gnarly sometimes, tower shields or great shields, they are not. So, as my own personal restriction limits the number of shields we get ever more rapidly, what are we left with? Well, dexterous users can go and find Oswald and get his buckler, the Pierce Shield, which actually has decent scaling. Or there's also the Spike Shield from Knight Kirk, provided he drops it. Everything else scales off of strength. Poorly, I might add. But my eyes are set on having at least one occasionally overlooked shield, the Crystal Ring Shield. And I'll talk more about why when we get it. So, stat-wise, expect me to be a tanky lad first and foremost, and pushing stats we actually need once we have any of the necessary shields. Otherwise, so long as we two-hand the shield, we can stand there and block just about damn near anything. So, armor is more an optional thought than it is a required preparation this go-around. But, again, I value my time too much, so we are going to wear somewhat decent armor. Or clothes, at the very worst. Our rings are more than likely going to fluctuate to our needs, but the Ring of Favor and Protection is probably going to be a mainstay. Again. Seriously, the ring is too good. It has a place on everyone's build. We make Brennan the shield hero of Last Epoch and choose the Knight class. Why? The genuine answer is, it's one of the better shields, the Tower Kite Shield. And turns out it's also one of the better shields in general for this challenge. Of course, the punching bag of the Asylum has to check and make sure that we're ready first. Well, it's not bad, but considering the fist weapons only challenge, I've literally done worse. So I should count this as a blessing. We leave the Asylum, and I get to work using the Master Key to collect the red Tearstone Ring. It didn't see a lot of use last time we were in Lordran, but my low damage output might change that. We make the way through Undeadburg, and after embarrassing ourselves against the Black Knight, we walk up to the Tauros Demon and... I was expecting a sharper drop-off. A failure later, then dedicating to a no-hit with this guy and a red Tearstone setup, I start to wallop the heck out of him with two-handing my shield. And shockingly, this thing apparently does decent enough poise damage he gets staggered partway through the fight. I am nothing if loath to look a gift bowl in the mouth. With that, I managed to take down the big guy in short order. Honestly, the biggest game changer is being able to block and take 0 damage. It highlights the tyrannical range shields have had in Dark Souls and why it's so damn hard to make a build without them. Plus, an interesting quirk of the shield attack is if it's timed just right, it will block attacks still. The heavy attack, in fact, is a charge with an incredibly large block window. And this is yet another reason how and why Naofumi fails as shield hero, because... Is it possible to retroactively call cut to a camera so I don't embarrass myself? Charging past that dragon and through a boar, I find the Knight Shield, which has ever so slightly higher attack, and we eventually make our way to everybody's favorite stud muffin of a blacksmith, Andre. With a little bit of farming, I get my Knight Shield to +5, then take a brief detour to pick up the Grasscrest Shield in Darkroot Garden for potential future use. Spoiler, it sees none, though in your own build, it probably will see a lot. I also ask the Black Knight guarding it to kindly drop his shield. He does not. I also go grab some lemon-scented duds, because it's decent armor. Back to the Undead Parish, I take my souls and upgrade the Caduceus round shield to +5, you'll see why later. Then I get Lotric out of his prison, we'll meet him later. I decide to give the gargoyles a try and die due to my own greed. I'll beat them later. Speaking of greed, Lotric! I have a face full of shield. I'll get his ring later. After a rematch with the gargoyles goes sour, I think it's time to focus on a different objective for a bit. We begin diving into the catacombs. My primary objective is the Silver Serpent, but Pinwheel is a good thing to knock off the list since, well, he's not terribly hard. First try, not even close. What do we get? Mask of the Mother. Okay, useful, but also not. I attempt to make my way through the darkened halls of the Tomb of Giants multiple times, and after getting one shot by one of the crawling skeleton Sams, I take that as my sign and excuse myself to stop throwing myself at the ring for the moment and pick up Lotric's ring. Shame I didn't get the Silver Serpent, because I go into my third round with the gargoyles and easily dispatch them. Could have been a lot more souls, but c'est la vie. What can you do if not break the brick wall with your skull? Or smash a group of enemies with your body weight and a big flat plate, apparently. Continuing on a typical playthrough, we then make our way down to Lower Berg, say hello to the local residents who can parry shield bashes, apparently, free a guy who locked himself inside a house, somehow, and went into Capra with no Estus. I'm feeling spicy this playthrough. Honestly, it wasn't too bad. Dogs got zoned out pretty hard with the archway trick, and I crushed one of them with my shield. After that, it was only touch and go due to greed, but thanks to the incredible defenses of the shield, it's quite literally a patience personified build. I take a brief stop at the depths entrance to grab a bigger ember and release Laurentius, from a barrel, then turn around for a key component of this build in the Darkroot Gardens, the Moonlight Butterfly. Really is a good thing I took out Pinwheel. Honestly, this fight is nothing if not boring with a halfway correct shield to soak the magic damage, such as the Caduceus round shield. Hey, this is why. And while I was afraid this fight would take something like 14 cycles, I remembered I had my red Tearstone ring on, resisted the urge to heal at low health, used jump attacks, and did triple the damage a few cycles, ending the fight much sooner. The real concern was my own greed. One of these times, it's gonna be my hubris. Why does it say foreshadowing? We finally go into the depths, no longer hollowed, for the sole intention of fighting off good old Kirk. He does have that shield that I want. After a few minutes of bashing his chest and face in, he does drop something. What do I look like? The sword hero? With that light failure out of the way, it's time to take on one of the healthiest boys in Dark Souls 1, the Gaping Dragon. And honestly, I'm not terribly worried about my chest. Put me down! Let me go, let me go, let me go! In all actuality, this was my first try, best try situation. Granted, he made me go through 17 charges of Estus and 2 Humanities because Dark Souls 1 looks at hitboxes and takes them more as a casual suggestion. But between going briefly hollow to get my fiancé a hairbrush and spending nearly 20 minutes on the fight bashing his leg to a bloody pulp and knocking its tail off, we do eventually find out what happens when a seemingly unstoppable force meets an unbreakable object. The unbreakable object wins. We also now know that shields make for horrible monster hunting tools. But I mean, how many monsters are we really going to hunt in this game? Why does that say foreshadowing? I return to the Grave of Giants and finally get the Silver Serpent ring. Trust me, we're going to want this. Much as I'm going to forget to swap to it, I'm sure. And instead of going through Blighttown the normal way, I go through the back door. I've been through there enough times. I'm going to take advantage of the fact that I have the master key. Sue me. I hate this place with a burning passion. One invasion to assert dominance and get some humanity later, I make my way over to the sexiest enemy in the entire game. There go her sexy hands. Only they stayed on screen longer. I should be careful with what I wish for, because she's actually the first difficult encounter I've had yet. I'm the second boss with a health bar that makes my attacks pitifully small, and I felt like she laughed at me. I died an embarrassing 7 or 8 times to Quelaag, and when I did finally clock what the problem was, it took me several minutes on the winning attempt just dodging around the pools of lava she made and getting in what few hits I could. It goes to show that any task can be done if you're determined enough. Man, I'd rather it be over quicker. There, much better. Before that display of speedy prowess, the bell had been rung. Yet, if I'm going to start making my way through Sen's Fortress, I should probably make sure I'm not leaving anything behind. So I take the Raven Express back to the Undead Asylum and say hello to the noisy downstairs neighbor. Hey! I don't take kindly to all the stomping. This is gonna take a long while. There's honestly terribly little to comment other than that. Remember how you handled the Asylum Demon? Same tactics, really. But now throw in needing to be prepared for magical explosives. 2 close calls, and a half hour later, you're a winner. It's, one of the more painful experiences I've had. And I'm afraid it's just gonna get worse from here. Of course, I eliminate Oscar and steal his Crest Shield, then both Black Knights, and get a lucky drop of the defensively better yet worse damage Black Knight Shield, which I do upgrade and acquire the doll. Today is not the day I forget you. With new loot in hand, and about as prepared as I can be, without going out of my way to grind for large Titanite shards, I make my way to Sen's Fortress of Fun. And oh boy, it's lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of fun. Wait, where are all the pratfalls? They're supposed to be pratfalls. Well, with what I would argue is the easiest run of Sen's Fortress I have ever had, I acquired the souls and large shards I need to then go and face the Goliath of gatekeeping, the Iron Golem. And shockingly, luckily, it goes off without a hitch. Boring? Yes. But considering even the blunt shield damage was doing incredibly little to his health bar, I'll take a quick fight over a long fight. Oh, there's the pratfall! One express trip into Anor Londo with the winged demons from the dark pits of horror that is Miyazaki's mind. That is a mouthful. We pass through the church with only some difficulties. Eliminate the bridge gargoyles, get a Silver Knight to back up off the ledge. This is why your feet position is important, don't skip sparring days. And with impressively little trouble, get through the majority of Anor Londo and say hello to my new best friend of a smith. Using the Moonlight Butterflies... The Moonlight Butterflies soul! Yes! Wonderful Freudian slip. Using the Moonlight Butterfly soul and a +10 shield, I make the Crystal Ring Shield, plus the Demon Titanite I've gathered up to this point, and I now have a +3 shield that has no scaling. Okay. The base shield doesn't have any scaling. But this puppy does have a special attack that drains about 4 durability every use, so it gets about 30 uses, and about 25 of those are going to be at full power. It also does raw magic damage when bludgeoning someone, so it is my strongest shield. Without scaling. Okay, just to check. Bump up my intelligence by another point. Use it on a knight who we know takes 118 damage before the level up. Ah, fuck me. The internet does agree there's 0 scaling here. Though nothing cited as far as a wiki or article to show for it. So a bit of process I didn't show, but I've sunk a total of 8 levels into intelligence by this point. And this is Dark Souls 1, so there's no way to reallocate levels. Those are wasted levels. And I am never going to get those back, which they all cost me roughly 100,000 souls. Cool. Cool. Really happy I didn't spend those in Vitality to go even further beyond the soft cap. Curse my greed for bigger deeps. My glaring mistake aside, I did have enough Demon Titanite saved up after killing that church demon. I walked into the Ornstein and Smo fight with a +4 shield, and this fight was shockingly simple. What is it with me and first trying these guys on challenge runs? I actually had more trouble with these two getting 100% achievements, and even then, that's because Super Ornstein is a righteous pain in the butt. Meanwhile here, between high poise damage and having a ranged attack now, it's actually one of the easier fights I could do. Now, granted, I learned the hard truth about using the Crystal Ring Shield so much it gets at risk, making me switch to my Knight Shield to finish Super Smo off. But even then, I had so much health and extra Estus that I found out if you just chill under the guy when he jumps, him landing on you does less damage than the lightning shockwave. So I started to abuse that, and as the footage can attest, I wasn't punished. We get the boozles, the vessel, the voobs, and so I leave my business only partially undone here. I descend into the tomb and take on Gwendolyn, and, first try, best try. It literally was me chasing this kid down the hall as he kept teleporting away, like some sort of fantasy jock bullying the nerdy wizard student. Until inevitably, I cornered him and just beat the crap out of him with my shield. Gwendolyn never stood a chance. Once that's done with and we place the vessel, we make our way down into New Londo ruins, deal with the ghosts and drain the place, only to pick up a particularly large ember and give it to Andre. And then, almost seemingly randomly, we head over to the demon ruins and meet up with Kirk for the rematch of Great Import. With Gold Serpent in hand, I slay him easily enough, and to my fortune he drops my prize, the spiked shield. This puppy, as said at the top of the video, has dex scaling, and with a little bit of effort, I get the minimum 12 dex to wield it. Now, on top of scaling with dex more than strength, it actually upgrades really well for damage, like a proper weapon would even. And it does bleed damage. Shockingly, uses Titanite shards and such instead of Twinkling Titanite, which I thought it might use. Let this be a lesson to you would-be challenge runners. Do your damn research. More than I did, anyway. With a little bit of time and a few more Titanite demons dying, I get my new Spike Shield to plus 13 and the Crystal Ring Shield to plus 5. I think it's time we said hello to the endgame, because outside of refining my armor and single ring slot, this is going to be the build. I mean, yeah, I could have gotten a good damaging shield sooner by offing Oswald, but I mean, come on! What kind of monster kills their friends for a shield? Naofumi. Naofumi would kill his friends for a shield. Jokes pertaining to inspiration of the run aside, next up, we go through the Darkroot Garden, slay a Hydra, and free a princess, purchase a seal, take the shortcut, and say hello to the biggest good girl this side of intellectual property, Sif, who goes down terribly easily. With new jewelry in hand, we rush through New Londo ruins and take on the Four Kings. While the fight itself was messy and my damage turned out to be lacking, a fifth king showed up. Between the stone armor, occasionally blocking magic with the crystal ring shield, and a recently upgraded plus 15 spike shield, it really did boil down to be that simple. Tank and spank, baby, that's what a shielder's good for. We make our way through the demon ruins, make relatively short and hilarious work of the Fire Sage demon, and say hi to Kirk again in Lost Isleth. He was less than enthused to be killed by his own shield. What can I say? It's a good shield. Down a dry slide we go and say hello to the Thorn of Chaos. The Thorn of Chaos. It is but a singular flaming thorn. We say hello to the Throne of Chaos. We go right and take out one core, then left, take out the second. Bada bing, a bada boom. Smack with the Black Knight shield. Awesome. Now to just hide the fact that I used the save and quit trick to never die. I'm so sneaky. Off to the Duke's Archives, and oh by Fletchy, I just remembered I didn't clear the Painted World of Ariamis yet. Let me just correct that real quick. Okay, gotta get into this world. Touch the painting. You should probably let go of me. Those spikes can really... Thankfully, I still have a jump attack. So once the undead dragon's re-dead, I can just jump attack and take a short... well, that's annoying. Standard way it is. Priscilla! How's everyone's favorite waifu of Dark Souls 1? Dying, apparently. First try, best try, not even close. Hey, is now a good time to talk to Brennan about how weird it is that Raftalia is like a 10-year-old girl aged up rapidly through magic bullshit to be 16 and fan artists will just draw... Wait, no, Brennan, don't do it! With the Painted World done, I find out that fully armored boars are apparently resistant to magic. But not spikes. Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense, Dark Souls. Take a couple of elevators up, get a broken pendant on the way, take the required asterisk minus the skip, death to Seath. Wait. Fuck! Died without having a Ring of Sacrifice equipped. No problem. Let me just go. Never mind. Quickly through the Crystal Cavern, and after an awkward death by a curse, followed by a brief jaunt to get that fixed, round 2 goes much more smoothly with brass armor from head to toe. Now to just quickly cut back to me wearing the spiked armor. Yeah, they'll never know I died to the boss. We can make that happen, right? What do you mean I already told them I died? Now, through the Grave of Giants properly. I let Patches kick me down and refuse to kill him, just in case I want him for something later, and go say hi to Uncle Nito. While it was a little hectic, with me lacking a holy weapon to actually deal with the skeletons harassing me, Nito did most of the work in keeping them down, so all I had to do was focus him. And for a skeleton, he didn't resist thrust damage too well. Damn that. With that, all that's left is DLC and Gwyn, so let's not dawdle and do DLC first. Sanctuary Guardian! As bad as standard as you can get. Second try, good try. Alright, Artorias! Can you give me the challenge I seek? No. First try, Sword Hero defeated. Seems everything since we got the spike shields going a bit quick, isn't it? Manus! Buddy! Pal! Can you offer me a real challenge? 3 tries. It took me 3 tries to beat Manus. Has the spike shield always been this good? Alright, Calamy. After getting the bow hero to shoot you down, you're my last hope to get any last minute challenge out of this game. What do you say? First try, best try. Huh. Do you know what's wild? Honestly, through the whole run, aside from the incredibly low damage for the early and mid game, this has been my personal best in terms of total deaths, and arguably one of the easiest times I've had playing Dark Souls 1. And while I'm in a part of the game that's more a death sentence if you're caught blocking than not, thus making it no longer as safe to engage with the boss fights with lacking skill, but that's just it. I've beaten these bosses numerous times at this point without using a shield much anyway. This really isn't any different. You know what? I was expecting this to be a lot more tedious. Once you make an effective weapon out of your mode of defense, it's kinda game over. What's an enemy to do other than take a bunch of spikes to the face? If you're on top of blocking, they can't get past your shield, and you can retort by just punching. And when it's no longer safe to block, just play a dodged-focused Dark Souls. Okay, so what about Gwyn? I had a friend who said Gwyn stopped her because you had to parry him to win. I know that's bollocks, but it really does make the fight that much easier. Parry, take a hit, then parry. Use the terrain to my advantage and heal, then back to the parry game. Oh, shit. You know what? Fuck it. We're at the end of the game, and it's 3 damage out of, like, the literal thousands I dealt him with my shield. 2 tries, and that's all she wrote. Well, Brennan, I think it's time to save the world, don't you? Huh. You know that? Fire looks pretty hot. I think I made a mistake in guiding him to kindle the flame. Maybe it is better to save the people over the world. At any rate, thanks for watching. This challenge was surprisingly more straightforward and much faster than I thought it would be. Well, relatively speaking, considering a big hiatus between starting it and finishing it. Let me know what you think. Obviously, a true shield-only run would include great shields, and you can use both hands to hold shields. But hopefully you thought that my own spin on a Shield Hero run was fairly entertaining. With that, Brennan can take a rest, assuming he's not a pile of ashes right now. And with that said, folks, please remember, you are always welcome here at Mana's Potion, and I'll see you next time.